Britain Yankee is here at the Art History Brewing Company tap room because today is a momentous day for many Brits in this area. It's the release of their ESB beer on tap, and we're hoping to go inside, sample it, see how it all is, and talk with Greg Browne to find out a little bit more about why he brewed this beer. So without further ado, let's go pull a pint. Come on, guys. So we come inside and we're talking with the brewer here at Art History, Mr. Greg Browne. Greg, how are you?
I'm good, cheers.
You have done something which has piqued the interest of the Britain Yankee because ESB is long been in the history of British beer. I think this particular one that you've done has tried to beat or maybe even represent one of the best known ones in England. We'll find out in a second. This is the ESB, standing for?
Extra special bitter.
There you go, extra special bitter. But first of all, let us dispel the myth of bitter, because when over here in America you hear the term bitter, it turns some people off. What's your understanding of how that came to be, if you know at all? Because I don't.
You know, I don't think I do know, although I know, you know, they call bottled beer pale ale, but the same beer on cask is called a bitter. So maybe it's meant to say it's just a little bit more bitter version of a pale ale. I'm not sure where that originates, to be honest with you, but I know that when people say bitter, it's definitely not as bitter as a West Coast IPA here would be. It definitely has a hop, you know, back note to it like this does, but it's not going to give you that, you know, like make you scrunch up your face and cringe.
Absolutely
with the bitterness, you know.
Yeah, we were just sitting discussing this. This is my second pint of this, and this is one of these beers that is definitely they call them session ales for beers over here, but I don't know if we ever called them session ales in the UK. Now you're an ex-Australian, expat Australian, I'm an expat Brit, so we can talk about the Americans with a different feel to things, right?
Outsider's perspective.
There you go, outsider's perspective. So I found this to be absolutely clean, crisp, maltiness, and then as you go through on the tongue, it kind of, there's a little sharpness to it.
Yeah. So there is bitterness here, but it's a clean bitterness. It's a nice sort of refreshing bitterness. And what I did with this, and it's kind of traditional for a lot of breweries in the UK, is I used what's called a hop back, and that's where at the end of the boil you pass the hop wort through a bed of whole leaf hop cones. And in this case, it was East Kent Golding, which is pretty much your classic.
That's the traditional, right?
Very traditional. Yep. That and Fuggles are the very traditional hops for this style, and that gives you a beautiful hop aroma because you're not boiling the hops; you're just sort of steeping them almost, making like a tea. But you do pick up some bitterness as you're going through the bed of hops. So we're lucky here that we have this hop back because you don't see them a lot here. In the UK, you know, they're pretty much at every brewery they use a hop back, and I think Anchor and Sierra Nevada are probably the most famous breweries here that use whole leaf hops, but most breweries don't want to mess with them. So I definitely get a really good aroma from this, and I do pick up, it's like almost a fresh, almost a wet hop bitterness to it from those those whole leaf hops. And then I did use some Fuggles in the boil. So yeah, it's pretty traditional.
What about the grain, Bill? Because the maltiness in this is one of its chief characteristics.
Yeah, so it's pretty much classic Maris Otter pale ale malt. A little bit of Crystal. I think it was Crystal 80 was the color on this. So that gives you like that nice sort of toasty, toffee kind of flavor. And then a little bit of chocolate, which is really just for the color, just to give it that reddish color. And I haven't compared this to Fullers ESB. My buddy Phil, the other Phil who you know, he actually has a keg of Fullers ESB on at his house.
I did try to get some for this interview.
It's hard to get.
All I could come up with is old speckled hen.
Yeah, they apparently, according to the Binny's guy, they're not bringing that over, and they're not bringing London Pride over, which is just a tragedy. So it's up to me to try and do my job here. But I want to compare this to the Fullers that my friend Phil has, and I think I got the color. They call it mahogany, which I'm not sure what mahogany is, but
look at that.
I think that's the right color.
And of course, you are serving this traditionally on a hand pull from a firkin.
Right. So this is as traditionally served as you can get, out of a firkin on a hand engine, and at about 52 degrees Fahrenheit, aka cellar temperature. So it's the right temperature. There's no extra CO2 in this except for just a CO2 blanket to keep it fresh. When we pulled these, it actually took a little while for it to settle. Yep. So you've got what they call very good conditioning. Mm-hmm. So and then if you look at when you swirl there, you can see all those very nice little bubbles down there. That's what the cellarman at a pub in the UK would be looking just below there at those very fine bubbles. So the conditioning on this is absolutely perfect right now. And I just tapped this yesterday, so everybody loves a fresh cask, freshly tapped cask, and so this is pretty fresh.
And of course, we had to come in and sample it before you start to put a limited amount into cans, right?
Yeah, we're going to be canning this because this is something I discussed with Roger from Binny's. He's told me that ESB is popular now, which I would never believe, and I'm not sure if I still believe it. But
yeah, it's not as popular. They can't get Fullers in, but I think that's Fullers, or as it is now, I think it's Asahi.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the Japanese breweries. Yeah. So I don't know. Is ESB a thing now? We'll find out. I'd be shocked if it was, but I hope it is. Will it be the next hazy IPA? I'm going to guess not, but. If people buy this ESB, then I'll be very happy.
And so you talked about Fullers, and Fullers is a brewery in London, in the Chiswick area. Yep. And I think that they produced a number of beers which were very popular from about, I think it was 1845 or something, all the way up to 2000 and something, 2009, when Asahi bought them. And now, I don't know whether they're producing the same quality, but
I think they do. It's the same brewers, same brewing staff there.
You can still get tours, I know that.
Still get tours, and they'll take you down the hot cellar there and give you some of this fresh. But yeah, I think they're still a great brewery. They're still in that same location there by the Chiswick, by the Thames. Yep. And I think they make outstanding beer. And this is kind of my homage to the Fullers ESB. And this is, they call it an extra special bitter. This is stronger than a normal bitter. Best bitter, I guess, would be around 4.5, 4.8. Ordinary bitter would be, I think, 3.8, something like that. Yeah. And then this is, because this is an extra special bitter, this is 5.5. So this is actually what would be considered a strong beer. At a UK pub. Anything over 5% is be careful, So
that's not the case over here.
Not the case over here, where 5% is considered a session beer. Yeah. But yeah, and I can vouch for the fact that if you have like 3 of these, that ride home with a tube is, you better use the bathroom before you leave.
Oh dear. So you've also made in the past a Yorkshire bitter. How does this differ?
This is a lot more hops. So the beers up north tend to be more on the malt flavor. So the Yorkshire bitter is really not that hoppy a beer. It's more about the malt flavor. It does have some hops in there, obviously. I think the color is maybe a little bit touch lighter than this.
Yes, I was going to say this is a little darker, but you went the other way.
Yeah. So the Yorkshire bitter is not as hoppy as this. It's more of a malty beer, and when we serve that with the sparkler on the hand engine, which makes it cascade. It looks like a Guinness. It looks like you're pouring a Guinness.
But you didn't use a sparkler on this
No,
one, right?
because I primed these casks, so there's a little bit of carbonation in the cask, so you don't need that for the hand pump. But with the Yorkshire bitter we do, I don't do hardly any priming in the cask. It's all done by the sparkler.
Yeah. Well, I think you've done a really good job here.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
I'm going to ask a few of the punters whether they like it in the bar now, if they have a pint, or maybe we'll give them a sample.
Yeah.
This is just such a smooth, quaffing beer that flows down the throat so easily. Pure deliciousness.
Well, thank you very much, Greg.
No,
I know that you're finishing your day, you're off out of here.
Yeah.
And I'll say, come on down to the fine folks at Art History in Geneva. You can find them. They're on the web.
All right.
Have a pint of ESB. Cheers. I was going to take a sip out of my microphone there, but it's better to do it out of the glass.
Very dry.
Absolutely.